Hey, John Sonmez from SimpleProgrammer.com. So I got a question here about going independent. I've actually gotten a few of these questions, but rather than doing all of them videos for them, I'm kind of going to condense the advice here because I get this a lot. I'm sure I'll continue to get this type of question. But this particular question is from Mike, and he says, "Greetings, John. I'm finally listening to the Entreprogrammers episode." By the way, Entreprogrammers is the podcast I have where it's a mastermind group of entrepreneur developers. You can find that at entreprogrammers.com. And he says, I'm finally listening to the Entreprogrammers episode where Josh pulls the plug and the topic of medical, dental, and vision insurance came up. And just to give you some background on that, Josh is one of the Entreprogrammers, and he finally quit his day job and went totally independent here. And that's the episode that Mike is referring to. Anyway, Mike says, it's items like this which make me hesitate when considering going independent as a contractor. Insurance, accounting, and tax planning. What is a valid write-off? What isn't? When am I required to begin filing quarterly taxes? How to vet/hire a virtual assistant? HR issues surrounding the hiring of employees, etc. It seems you read a lot of books, and it's my hope that you have a recommendation for someone like me who does full stack and mobile development and is plotting a move to self-employment and who has a wife, 6 kids, and number 7 on the way. Thanks for all you do online. Regards, Mike. So Mike, wow, 6 with 7 on the way. That's good. I've got to watch my advice here. I can't give you the same advice I'd give a 22-year-old kid who's got nothing tying him down. But here's the thing I would still say is, it's going to depend on your situation. But what you need to do is investigate the numbers yourself and look and do this one thing at a time. You talked about medical and dental and vision insurance and independent contractors and general insurance and accounting and tax planning. What's the write-off and when do I begin filing quarterly taxes and how to vet and hire a personal assistant and all this stuff and HR issues. If you worry about all this stuff up front, you're never going to do it. You're never going to create a business. You're never going to, you got to kind of have this faith that you're going to figure this stuff out. Now, there's some things that you're going to have to figure out ahead of time, right? I would say figure out the health insurance thing, especially if you have 7 kids. Figure that out ahead of time. Make sure that you know what it's going to cost you and that you can afford that. But that's really step 1 into making this jump. You don't have to have everything else figured out ahead of time. You don't have to know how to file your taxes and what you can write off and not and when you start filing quarterly taxes. That's a big headache, and you will have to figure out those things. But don't limit yourself up front. And instead, when you get your accountant and when you've started your business and when you're actually started making money, first of all, remember, you don't have to worry about any of that stuff until you actually start making money. Most people who start a business don't ever even have to file taxes because they don't make any money. Or they file a negative. So that's a problem that you'll be glad to have when you have that problem. I just wouldn't focus too much on that up front. I'm not saying don't do any due diligence, get a general handle on how to do these things. But each step of the way, you're going to tackle new things, and because it can be super overwhelming. That's what I had to do with my business when I first started out. Like I said, the first thing I figured out was the health insurance because I needed that right away, and then I didn't know how the accounting was going to work. I found an accountant, talked to the accountant, went over the things. I didn't know how to file quarterly taxes or how to what paperwork do I have to file with the state. And I figured out those things one at a time, talked to my accountant and got that advice, figured out, okay, and now I've got a system. Now I understand how those things work. First time I hired an employee to work for me, that was all, I didn't know, how the heck do you do this, right? But I didn't need to worry about that up front. When I first started thinking about creating a business, I was worrying about all that, and I realized that I just had to take it one step at a time. So that's what I would say is basically take it one step at a time. You'll figure all this out. It's not all that complicated. When you get to the point that you need to file taxes, then figure that part out. When you get to the point where you need to hire an employee, then you can figure that part out, and you'll learn. And then pretty soon it'll become second nature to you And even though it, when you look at it right now, it seems all this stuff seems so overwhelming. But what you got to do is you got to simplify it down, figure out what do you absolutely need to know to get started. Like I said, that's probably going to be the medical insurance, especially with the size of your family. And then from there, it's going to be you just have to trust your ability to be able to figure out the things that you need to know as you go along. So anyway, hopefully that's helpful to you, Mike, and for any others of you that have asked this similar type of question. I know I've been asked this a lot, and it can be hard. I know it can be intimidating making that jump, but you got to do it. You can't just sit there thinking about it. And the big thing I would say also is that there's going to be curveballs that are going to come your way, and you can't anticipate everything. We'd like to have control of our lives and to know every single thing that's going to go wrong or that we have to know. But running a business is a lot of curveballs. So get used to it. And hopefully, I wish you the best. And hopefully you have success and make that jump. Send me an email and let me know when you make the jump. Anyway, if you have a question for me about your career or business, anything like that, finances, or just about some crazy topic you'd like to hear me talk about, email me at john@simpleprogrammer.com. And if you like these videos, definitely subscribe. Talk to you next time.